Hello everyone, myself Sajin Sushmita Das, Assistant Professor of Law in School of Law and Legal Studies. Today we'll discuss rule of strict liability in law of torts. What is strict liability? When there are certain situations when a person may be liable for some harm, even though he is not negligent in causing the same, and there is no intention to cause the harm, or sometimes he may even have some positive efforts to avert the same. In other words, you can also understand strict liability is mean that no fault liability, that you have done no fault, strict liability. And in just opposite, you can remember that for the absolute liability, there is a fault. So you are absolutely liable for that. And we'll deal certain cases, landmark cases, with such principles. In this connection, the rule laid down the decision in the House of Lords, the landmark case that is the Rellens versus Fletcher. For the strict liability, you should learn this landmark case named Rellens versus Fletcher. The essential elements, and which is very important to know what are the essential elements of a strict liability. For such, there should be one dangerous element, that is, there should be a dangerous things which must have been brought by a person on his land. Then only you can claim for that is a strict liability. The thing thus brought or kept by a person on his land must escape. So escape is the other essential element, and it must be of non-natural use of land. So these are the three essential ingredients you must say, you must know that essential elements of the strict liability. Next is the certain exceptions. So what are the certain exception to this rule of strict liability? So consent of the plaintiff is must. Then plaintiff's own default. Then act of stranger, act of God, which is also known as vis major, common benefit of plaintiff and the defendant, and the last one is the last exception is the statutory authority. Now let us deal of the landmark case of strict liability, that is the Rellens versus Fletcher 1868. The facts laid down in the case is that the defendant, who is Fletcher, who is the owner of a mill in whose objective is to improve the water supply for his mill, and employed independent and efficient engineers for the constructions of a reservoir. During the excavation of the ground underneath, they came across some shafts and passages, but chose not to block them. Post after the construction, the reservoir, when they filled with water, all water flowed through the unblocked old shafts and passages to the plaintiff, who is Rellens, coal mines on the adjoining land. The engineers kept the defendant in the dark that about the occurrence of these incidents. That the engineers didn't said anything, and they were not knowing certain facts of the what happened. Now, a suit filed before the court by the plaintiff against the defendant. The court, though, ruled negligence on the defendant part, but held liable under the rule of strict liability. So, any amount of carefulness on his part is not going to save him, whereas liability falls under the scope of no fault liability. So, there is no fault liability when you learn strict liability. So you should learn the very landmark case whenever it might come in any multiple choice question. You must know all the exceptions. You must know all the essential ingredients. Anything can come in your examination. So thank you.